So under it, what we'll be doing is we'll be studying up almost you can say about what is data warehousing, your benefits of your data warehousing. Afterwards, moving on to your differences between your online transaction processing and data warehousing, and moving on to the architecture of your data warehouse and in detail, of course, the components of your data warehouse also, that is your main components. Then afterwards, we'll be concentrating on your data flows and your tools and technologies in your data warehousing, then your integration part, and then moving on to your metadata, its importance. So we'll be starting up this one by one. What is data warehousing? First of all, the term data warehousing. Although we have an introductory lecture, in the introductory lecture we have discussed about data warehousing. We'll move into a bit detail of it now today. Data warehousing is subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process. This part we have already discussed in the introductory this lecture also. So I'll be moving on to the second one now. A data warehouse is data management and data analysis. So whenever the team of you can say executive members, they sit together and they have to make some decisions, and which are called as your the management of your management team of an organization. So what they do is they use these data warehousing tools for your analysis part, or the analysis done by data warehousing tools to make decisions for their organization, and even make policies for future growth of the organization. So that's why even your data warehouse can be considered as a data management and data analysis. So another is a data warehouse is distributed data warehouse that is implemented over the web with no central data repository. So normally, if we take the data as a central repository, in that case, we normally consider it only on your client server kind of environments. But in case of data warehouse, as the data is quite huge, it cannot be placed at one location and on one server only. So that's why even if we take into consideration this part, so data warehousing is a distributed data. Distributed data means it is located at a large number of servers around the world at different locations. And to implement the data warehouse, we need web. Web means internet, and there is no central data repository at one location. There are a large number of data repositories at different locations and different parts of the world. Goal or objective is to integrate the enterprise-wide corporate data into a single repository from which users can easily run queries. So our objective or goal is to integrate the individual data, or you can say organization data, or you can say corporate data into a single repository, means that is a part of your data warehouse, and from which the users can easily run queries, or you can say they are able to extract the data in the form of analysis or some other tools through which they are clear with what the data is actually representing. Although we have discussed it in a bit of it in your this previous lecture also, I'll give it a fast refresh of the terms in your data warehouse. Subject oriented warehousing is a data warehouse. Yeah, warehouse is organized around the major subjects of the enterprise rather than the major application area, which we have also discussed that we are concentrating on the major subject areas of which we are, you can say, planning to have a data warehouse, and we are not at all concentrating on the application areas of your data. And this is reflected in the need to store decision support data rather than your application oriented data. So we are concentrating only on the data that is required for your decision making, and we don't concentrate on any of the data that is basically only related to your application oriented part, right? Next is your integrated term. So in case of integrated, because the source data comes together from different enterprise-wide application systems, the source data is often inconsistent. So using the integrated data source must be made consistent to present unified view of data to the users. This also I have explained with the help of an example of our colleges, and you can say data warehouse of your students who are pursuing graduation and post graduation. So in that case, every college, university where graduation and post graduation courses are run, they use their own kind of criteria for getting information of the student. So and they sometimes use I've taken an example of name only. So example is a name that is the student name. So it can be a name in one of the colleges. In another, it can be your student name. In another, it can be S name. In another, it can be S underscore name. In another, it can be STU underscore name. So they are all different. So in order to have common, you can say data, in case of data warehouse, we have to integrate all these different names or different field names for the same kind of field value. Like I took an example of name into one category only. That in data warehouse they would be represented by one field name only. So that is your integration of data. Time variant now, the source in the data warehouse is only accurate and valid at some point in time or over some time interval only. So if we say take into consideration that data in a data warehouse is being provided by different you can say sources, in that case that data remains valid at a particular moment of time or over a time interval. Let's take an example of, let's say, marketing people. They need data regarding sales and the environment of last 4 or 5 years to make decisions for further, let's say, future growth of the organization or to build up new policies for future this marketing. So in that case, 4 or 5 years previous data is sufficient for that. If we have a data for the last 15 years or 20 years, that might not be actually relevant for the decision makers to take decisions for further marketing, because in let's take to consideration that from last 5 years there was a major change in the policy of your government, and in that case the data that was previously gathered and due to which there were different kind of environment in the same area where you in which you are doing business, so that becomes irrelevant for the decision making purposes. So in that case, it is only at some time interval only where the data warehouse data remains relevant for decision making. The time variance of data warehouse is also shown in the extended time that the data is held, and the implicit or explicit association of time with all the data, and the fact that the data presents, yeah, represents a series of snapshots. So if we are keeping a data in a data warehouse, a time interval field or time field, it plays a very important role to for the decision makers, because they have to consider the relevant data only for decision making. The data that is that I say that totally remains irrelevant for them to decision for the decision making. So I'll take another example over here to explain it. Suppose this 2020 and 2021, you know it, these were the years where we are facing a major problem of COVID. So in that case, the data for your future growth, uh, if we take into consideration the data for these 2 years, 2020 and 2021, that might not be totally feasible for decision making. Instead, the data from 2020, before 2020, that is 2019, 2018, 17, and 16, that year's data may be more relevant for decision making and for making future policies of the organization for growth of the organization, instead of these 2 years data where everyone is facing a common problem of COVID, and that has really led to a great, you can say, change in the marketing and other aspects and other, you can say, selling of the products. So in that case, again, you can say the time factor plays a very important role. The fourth aspect over here is now non-volatile. Data is not updated in real time, but is refreshed from the operating system on a regular basis. New data is added as a supplement to the database and rather than replacement. So whenever you add a data from a data source into a data warehouse, you never update that data, you never edit that data. You are only adding new data to that, and you never replace the whole data. It remains over there, although it might be irrelevant, still it remains as a part of your data warehouse. it is always available in the data warehouse. You might not be giving very importance to that very data, but you are going on adding new data after your previous data, and you don't replace any part of your previous data. So database continuously absorbs this new data and incrementally integrate it with your previous data. So database has a very important role to absorb the new data. That means to accept the new data in one or the other form, and then incrementally integrating it with the previous data. That naturally it has some kind of integration with the data that is already available. So you have to make an integration with the previous available data also. The benefits of data warehousing. The potential benefits of data warehousing are high returns on investment, then substantial competitive advantage, and increased productivity of your corporate decision makers. So these are your major benefits of your data warehouse. High return on investment, because you are planning, you are making decisions based on some of the data that is available in your data warehouse. That's why your decisions would have a high success rate. And if your decisions are having high success rate, definitely you are going to have high return on your investment. Substantial competitive advantage, those competitors who are basically in the same field of your business. So in that case, what happens is you have a competitive advantage in terms of your competitors, and you have to see to it that you are ahead of your competitors always. The third one is your increased productivity of your corporate decision makers. Of course, your the productivity of your decision makers, that means executive members or the managers who take decisions based on your data warehouse, they definitely increase the productivity by taking decisions based on your data warehouse data. Next part is your difference between OLTP and your data warehouse. A DBMS built for online transaction processing, that is OLTP, is generally regarded as unsuitable for data warehousing because each system is designed with a different set of requirements in mind. So you know it, you have already studied in your databases also that you are using the concept of tables where you have rows and columns in the form of fields. So that kind of, you can say, model that is suitable for your online transaction processing. So in that case, what happens is that same kind of model cannot be used for your OLAP, or you can say data warehousing data. So you need to have a different model to store your data in your data warehouse. You cannot use the same kind of uh, OLTP models which you already have studied for storing data in a data warehouse. For example, OLTP systems are designed to maximize the transaction processing capacity, while data warehouses are designed to support ad hoc query processing. So you should have a clear-cut difference. You should know the clear-cut difference between your OLTP and data warehouses. So when you use your OLTP data, you know you are using SQL queries to this assess the different parts of your data in your tables and different tables. But in case of data warehouse, you might not have direct query processing. You might be having some ad hoc query processing where a large amount of data is being processed and you are provided with the data in the form of some kind of analysis.